Hi everyone, welcome back to all of you on my YouTube channel. I am Ankit Mishra. So this one is the second lecture for COMSOL Multiphysics, where I'll be talking about the interface modules and the workflow. So in the previous lecture already I have talked about the motivation regarding why I am starting this video series for the COMSOL Multiphysics. So here first, once you open the software for the COMSOL Multiphysics, so here you can see that in the software. So yeah. So in the software you can see, once you open the software, you see there is a model wizard and blank model, right? So first I will tell you what is the difference between the model wizard and blank model. So let's say a model wizard is based for the beginners of a structured workflow. So let's say if you are starting the console and you are very naive to this console, so you don't know anything about the console. So what it will do? So it will give you all of these things like. Okay, you can make your geometry and how to add all of these kind of geometry. You are starting a new model for a scratch only. So you want to help COMSOL to build your core structure, something like that. So in this way, the COMSOL will help you, and you are unsure which physics interface to include or something like that. So there you will get a model here, and from there you can start with the COMSOL. But what does blank model do? So in a blank model, generally what happens, you manually add your geometry, your physics studies, mesh solver, all of these kind of things. So let's say if you become expert in COMSOL, then you can start with the model wizard only. But let's say if you are naive to the COMSOL, then I will suggest you or I will recommend you to start with the model wizard, right? So this is how these things work. So you already know what you want to or need full contract, right? So that then only you can start with the model wizard, right? Blank model. So let's say I'll start with the model here because this is the fundamental lecture that I'm teaching here. So first let's say if I'll start the model here, where you can see this kind of user interface will come, where there will be 3D model, 2D axis symmetry, 2D, 1D axis symmetry, 1D and OD, something like that. And after that, let's say if you want to work in 2D, 1D or all of these things based on your physics, you can select any of these things, right? So let's say I'll start with the 2D only first. So I'll go and select 2D. So here it will show that recently used this thing. So here I have already used all of these kind of things. So let's say I'll block it, right? So and recently used, you can directly click here and you can see what kind of physics that I have used recently. So that will show these things, right? And after that you can go to AC, DC, acoustics. So in AC, DC also this kind of modules are there, but again the modules that you have selected for taking the license of the COMSOL, like let's say if you are going to get the license for the COMSOL, there so COMSOL will ask you what kind of modules do you want. So basically I am using COMSOL 6.0 from ISC Bangalore through ISTM only, so that's why I got only 5 modules, right? That I'll tell you. And based on my the problem that I'm working on, that requires that kind of 5 kind of model, that's why I selected that kind of model. But let's say based on your physics you can select any other model. That is it's not compulsion that you will use my model something. Okay, great. Next is acoustic. Here you can again see different kind of physics are there where you can use. So but here mostly in my case I'll be talking about the chemical engineering thing. So mostly I'll be talking about chemical species transport, electrochemistry, fluid flow and heat transfer. That already I have discussed in the first lecture. And here some kind of mathematics also there, that how can we solve the ODEs and PDEs using the COMSOL, right? So first let's say if I go to the chemical species transport, here you can see these kind of modules are there, where transport of diluted species, transport of concentrated species, chemistry, reaction, situation, all of these things are there. Then if I go to, let's say, electrochemistry, here again you will see primary and secondary current distribution is there, electrolysis, electrode, cell, cathodic protection, batteries, hydrogen fuel cell, water electrolyzer, all of these modules are given to you. And again you can go to the fluid flow. Here you can see single phase flow is there, and again in single phase flow, creeping flow, laminar flow, turbulent flow, all of these things are there. So basically I am working on the laminar flow condition in blood vessel. So that's why I will be using the mostly I will be talking about the laminar flow, right? So all of these things are there also. And again if you go to this transport through porous and porous media also, so these kind of modules are there where you can add these kind of equations. So in porous media also you have Darcy's law, Stirling's law, Brinkman's equations, Digital's equations, all of these things are there. So based on your physics of the problem, you can use any kind of thing. So since I am working on the transport of drugs in blood vessels or something like that, there I need the Darcy's law. That's why I'll be talking mostly on the Darcy's law also in my later lecture. So till now we have get to know that how this user interface looks like if you are selecting 2D kind of thing. So let's see if I am entering into a chemical species transport. Okay. So in chemical species transport, let's say I am adding transport of diluted species. Once you will click this thing here, so it will get added, and you are supposed to click on add. So once you do these things, add, it will get added to the system. And after that, let's say I am only adding this transport of diluted species right now. And after that, I'll go to a study. Once you go to a study, then it will allow you to select either a stationary or time dependent. So here, let's say if I am talking about the time dependent, right? So in time dependent, I'll go, and again here you can see there is done kind of thing. So here if you click here, so it will take some time to open that window, right? Because based on your computer processor, this allow you to work fast or slow kind of thing. So now here, once you open this thing, here it will provide you this kind of user interface. Here there you can see that there is a model builder, and in model builder there will be a global definition, and you can define the parameter also here. So whatever the parameter you want to define here, you can define the name, expression of the parameter, the value that is there, and expression is generally that is the units of that particular parameter. So let's say if I want to define a temperature, let's say if I write T, capital T, and here you have to define in degree centigrade, something like that. Degree centigrade, and something, this value should be there, something like that. So expression can be also there in T and all. So I am removing this thing, the value and description, something like that. Okay. So after that you can come to the material. So in material section, if you come here, so let's say if I am coming here, okay. So material section you cannot define right now. First you have to go to geometry, right? So here let's say if you are creating any kind of geometry, right? So in geometry, once you enter, either you can change the name of geometry. Let's say if I am making a rectangle, something like that. Okay. And after that, length in units. So you can change the unit in angstrom, nanometer, micrometer, centimeter, something like that. So let's say I am changing it to micrometer, and after that I'll make it build, something like that. Okay. Now I'll go to geometry, and here in geometry you can see. Once you click on the geometry, it will allow you to create this kind of geometry also, and also this one is the escape. So let's say first I'll talk about how to create a geometry in 2D. So I'll go to rectangle, and here once you click the rectangle, here it will give you type is solid and curve. So here I'll be talking about the solid geometry, and now you can define the width and height here. So let's say I'm defining width is 100 and the height is, let's say, 50 only in micrometer. And now you can see there is a position. So if you put this position 0, 0, so the rectangle will start from 0, 0. The left bottom corner will be 0, 0, something like that. So let's see if I'll build here, so you will be able to see. So this coordinate here you can see is 0, 0. This coordinate will be, that means this geometry is starting from this one. Is that clear? So let's say if I shift this coordinate, let's say here to 10, so the rectangle will get shifted to 10 and 0. And let's say if I will shift this to 5, so 10, 5 coordinate will be. So here you can see this is how this kind of customization you can do in the COMSOL multiplex here, based on the geometry kind of thing. Is that clear? So let's say again if you want to make another kind of rectangle also, so you can duplicate these things also. So once you duplicate here, you can see this one is rectangle 1, this one is rectangle 2. And again if you want to change the width and height, so let's say here if I'll make 50, and if I'll make it 400, and again the coordinate, if I want to change these things, is x coordinate I'll put 30, and y coordinate I'll be putting is let's say 0. So let's see how it will work. So here you can see that this kind of rectangle will get formed, something like that. Okay, so if I'll decrease the height is 200 only, so you'll be able to see these things. Okay. And if let's say if it is minus 20, something like that, so this rectangle will go like that. So this is how you can define this kind of geometry, 2D kind of geometry in your COMSOL multiplex. So again slowly here in this lecture I'll be talking about the geometry. So let's say now I want to make a circle in 2D only. So in circle you are supposed to provide the radius and sector angle, right? So sector angle, say 360 is the sector angle. So let's say if I'll provide the 90 degrees, that will make an arc. If I'll provide a 180 degree as a sector angle, that will give you a semicircle, so something like that. So let's say if I put build all, so yeah, so yeah, here I'll make size is 50, something like that. So here you can see that the rectangle is getting formed where the center will be at 0 and 0. So let's say if I want to shift the center here, let's say 50. So here it will go and get shifted something like that. So this one is the one rectangle, and let's say again I want to duplicate it and I want to make another circle, but now here I want to make a semicircle, something like that, 180, and the radius is again 50, and let's say I want to make it at 30, something like that. Okay, and now if I'll build it, so you can see I'll go to, let's say, I'll move it. In order to show you, I'm just shifting this. So here you can see we are able to make a semicircle also, sorry, yeah, semicircle here, and again this one is a circle, this one is a rectangle, whatever the kind of geometry that you want to make in 2D. So here from this particular user interface you can create such kind of geometry. So I hope this fundamentally very clear to all of you, that how to create the 2D geometry in COMSOL Multiphysics 6.0, because I am using 6.0. And again in the next lecture I will be again discussing about some more geometry, 2D geometry, how to build couple 2D geometry, and all of these fundamental tools that I will be discussing, how to make a circular arc, interpolation curve, Boolean union intersection, all of these kind of parameters that I will be talking. Array, how to make an array, copy, mirror, move, rotate, and all of these kind of things. And how to take a chamfer, fillets, and offsets, something like that will make your, that will fasten your process of making various kind of geometry. And again, while using all of these tools, you can make the accuracy of your geometry in order to apply the multiphysics. Okay, so thank you. See you in the next lecture, and I hope this lecture will be very much helpful for all of you. And those who have not subscribed my channel, please go and subscribe also. So also press the bell icon, so that if I am putting any new video for the COMSOL Multiphysics, and also I am discussing some lecture on process and control continuously. So you will be getting a notification for all of this. Okay, thank you. See you in the next lecture.